Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I once thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss The Dead Next Door, which came out in the late 1980s. Directed, written and produced by J.R. Bookwalter. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis for The Dead Next Door?
Okay. A Dr. Bo has created a serum that has brought the dead back to life. A zombie outbreak occurs and the zombies manage to attack Washington and pretty much most of North America. We follow 5 years later a squad known as the Zombie Squad, whose mission it is to go around and try to save people being attacked by zombie hordes. They come under the knowledge of Dr. Bo's serum and decide to go to AKRON, Ohio to try and find a cure and stop the zombie outbreak.
This comes really straight off the back of the success of The Evil Dead 2, where Sam Raimi actually financed the production of this film, despite having little to no credit in the end credits at all. I don't think his name really appears anywhere other than as a cast member's name.
Well, it comes up, he used a pseudonym. It was the Master Cylinder, I think it was.
That's right, yeah. And so he literally financed the entire film. And to which to say that this is still a micro budget. I think it was actually about $100,000,
Yeah.
which is actually the biggest budget J.R. Bookwalter would ever work with. You can see that with the release of his later titles, which include Robot Ninja, Zombie Cop, Galaxy of the Dinosaurs, Mega Scorpions. Yes, J.R. Bookwalter's budget really took a nosedive, along with really, any sort of semblance to actual quality filmmaking. But that's not to say that The Dead Next Door has now got a cult following, and I was there from the start. I got this on VHS tape, and I treasured it, because there was nothing else quite like it. This was like one of the earliest, I want to make a zombie movie and I can do it on a no-budget sort of scale that would sort of, be at the forefront of this huge swarm of being inundated with zombie movies wherever you look.
Yeah. I remember when you were giving up all your VHS tapes. We were stepping into the world of DVDs, and obviously as a big VHS collector myself, Gary was like, here, take all these films, do what you want with them, but this zombie movie you have to watch and you have to keep. And so I still have The Dead Next Door on VHS. And I watched it, and, I've watched some fucking zombie movies in my time. Some are really, really up there, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, those kind of movies, and some are really fucking down there, like the Dead at Manchester Morgue and fucking Dead Rising, Watchtower. The Dead Next Door, like Gary says, sits there right in the middle. You can see that these guys had got together. They'd seen The Evil Dead. They'd seen Night of the Living Dead. They'd seen that people could make horror movies on a micro budget with all of their buddies over a fucking 4-year period with a micro budget and crappy special effects, and just try to have fun. Try to make something. I mean, this movie is an Oscar winning. Far, far from it. Whoever had the idea that when the zombie outbreak occurs, the zombies will go in your local video store and rent all of the zombie movies they can find, then attack the clerk and start attacking the people in the town, that's just master script writing.
Well, I mean, he wanted to pay homage to the great zombie filmmakers of our time anyway. I think that one zombie actually even looks like he's straight from the set of Dawn of the Dead.
He does, yeah.
But then, we cut to what for me really does set the atmosphere and the tone for the film, albeit not the correct tone or atmosphere for the film,
Yeah.
where we get the news reporter who's giving this broadcast about how he thought it was a hoax, but it's real. Zombies are eating people across America.
Yeah,
And for me, these are some of the best shots and sequences of the entire film, where we get these panned or shaky cam shots of zombies everywhere. Despite a couple of sloppy zombies on the telephone.
Yeah, and then obviously you get those quick flashes of those people stood in front of a white wall being pulled down by zombies and somebody squirting blood in the background. Or my favourite, one of my favourites in this beginning sequence was the back of the van opening up and 5 zombies kind of just stepping out. They just like, it was like somebody had just literally shouted action and they've all just kind of flopped out. But obviously we kind of overstepped the actual beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie it pays homage to Sam Raimi and the Evil Dead. You get that camera on a roll flying up to the door, the doctor shutting the door and locking it down with his daughter Anna. And this is Dr. Bo. He has created the zombie virus, and the local religious cult of AKRON either want him or want him to stop doing what he's doing. We're not entirely sure, but these people bust through the door and then are attacked.
Go away, Jason, before they get you. Go away before they eat you.
We'll get you, Bo. Just you wait. Huh?
Dear Lord.
And so that is actually your opening to lead up to the zombie outbreak. This is how it's all formed. And then it just literally comes up saying 5 years later, somewhere in Virginia, and we watched this crappy fucking, National Lampoon family wagon drive down with Zombie Squad written on the side. I love that symbol. I need a t-shirt with that symbol on, with the Zombie Squad.
I love this setup. It's sparked off so many ideas for potential stories with this zombie hunting squad that have survived the apocalypse and now are just out there doing whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
And so we get introduced to our colourful characters, who might as well have just been played by zombies. Because they just stand there like cardboard cutouts. And yet when they move into this situation, it's like, it feels like this is their first day out. Not 5 years later.
They turn up to this farmhouse and you've got Raimi, the kind of, well, he's actually the second in command. You've got the captain, you've got Raimi, you've got Mercer, who's kind of like the young rookie. Then you've got the female character played by Jolie Jackunas, I think it's called. And the fact that they pull up to this farmhouse and Raimi says, don't worry about these zombies, we'll just head inside. And I'm thinking, aren't you trying to like cut the number of zombies down? Because in my experience, even 1 or 2 can potentially lure a horde. So, okay, so we're going to leave those zombies there. Right, yeah, all right. And then they wander into the house and we're following them around, and we're following Richards. And Richards follows this blood trail all the way up the stairs and comes across our first real special effect zombie, who is just kind of sat on the floor eating bits of flesh off of an actor who's obviously got the bits all over him.
It looks like a Jim Henson puppet just covered in a bit of gore.
It's the hands. You can fully tell that the head and the hands are 2 different things. But he fucking shoots the zombie in the head. And the zombie is still going. So he's kind of like, you're like, oh, they're like Return of the Living Dead zombies. They don't die from headshots. No, he's just a really bad shot. And then he walks over and he chops the head off with the machete. Okay.
Looks pretty cool as the head bounces around the bedroom.
That's it. This film, within the first 10, 15 minutes, they don't hold back.
No.
They're like, this is a fucking zombie movie. As much blood, guts, and gore, that's what people are here for. But then Richards gets attacked because, like the fucking idiot that he is, he doesn't check the corners. You always check those corners. Apone told us it in fucking Aliens. We see them do it in all the other zombie movies. Check those fucking corners. And he lets this zombie attack him. And I'm like, Richards, you're a liability.
Richards, out the window.
And then we cut to Mercer, who's outside, wandering around, and he's like, hey, look, there's a lone zombie up there. I'll fucking grenade kill him! 5 years after the apocalypse, and we've still got grenades. So I'm like, okay, so maybe the apocalypse isn't that bad. We're still manufacturing grenades, or we just have an Acme supply of them somewhere. So, whew, grenade kill, blows up one zombie, and then out of nowhere, hundreds of zombies just appear over the hill. Like, it goes from silence to instant noise of zombies piling over. And Mercer's like, oh shit, best run away.
I mean, that's a good kind of point in the film. You're kind of shocked, like, oh, there's shitloads of zombies. But yeah, Mercer, what the fuck? You know, why didn't you just fire your gun in the air, shouting, hey, zombies over here? I love the fact that the hordes of zombies actually make noise as well.
Yeah, they kind of communicate-ish, talk almost,
scream, cry. It's just like
it's just a cacophony of noise with them all. Which I've got to say, you know, for low-budget zombie films, getting as many bodies on screen as you can in one shot does help sell the idea and the notion.
Yes,
you know, because you can't fill all the empty space with CGI. So, you know, kudos for getting all those extras together to actually try and sell the idea of this apocalypse.
Yeah.
We then cut back to the zombie squad in the house for even more retardation.
Yes. Yes.
As he has now dropped his gun on the floor, very close to the decapitated head, he decides, I'm just going to blindly pick up my gun. Yes, this feels like it. You know, great. At least we've got the gore shot of him holding up his fingers or his missing fingers as it sprays gore everywhere.
Yeah, but like you said, he just fucking deserves to die.
He deserves to die.
You know, come on, Richard. You've been at it for five years, but what is this, your first fucking day? And if it's his first fucking day, don't split up. Let him go. Because, I mean, the actors, to me, they kind of sell this idea that they've been going for a long time and all of their friends have been killed at this point. But once they return to their base, which is in Washington, and they're trying to obviously stop the horde, you realise that a lot of these people in this world are fucking retards. You know, there's a point where some scientists are having to get zombies out of the back of a car so that the doctors can do some examinations on them. And the two guys that are controlling the fucking roll down window are so retarded of how to contain the zombies, one of them gets killed. I'm like, what the fuck?
Close it! Close it!
Mercer and Raimi go to see Dr. Jolie, I think it is.
Molson?
Molson, that's it. He goes in. Molson's already given Dr. Savini a bunch of shit because he's a fucking retard as well.
I've got to say, Molson is my favourite character in the film.
Yeah,
straight from his hat that he wears.
Yeah, that was hat.
Which is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Where he says, once I thought I was wrong, but then I was mistaken. Or I was just it tells you who this character is from the get-go. But it's the conversation he has with Savini. A name seems familiar.
Yeah.
And he just like tells him to get out, that his presence is making him nauseous. I'm just like, burn!
Yeah, so he's literally just turned up. He's taken the samples and then told him to fuck off again.
I'm extremely busy, Dr. Molson. The things you're asking me to do take time. Next time I'll have it...
Next time you'll have it here on time, Dr. Savini, or else. Don't kid yourself. We don't use you for intelligent things around here. We have zombies that can do the things I ask of you in half the time. Now please leave. You're making me nauseous. Bye-bye.
And so then Molson, he kind of, for me, is like the rebirth of the Frankenstein character from Day of the Dead, where he's performing these experiments, and he's trying to find the cure. And I like the fact that he's got this zombie who he's put a voice box on his throat.
Yeah,
and he calls him Vox because that's the way he's communicating.
Yeah,
who then just just feed me, I'm hungry, and he starts recalling the national anthem.
Yeah, which is cool because obviously as a zombie fan, you've got big nods. You know, that one is a nod to Bub.
Yes.
from Day of the Dead. You know, we've got the Frankenstein character from Day of the Dead. But then, fuck's sake, Mercer, seriously, you're in a lab full of zombies, you know, any bites from them could infect you. So what does Mercer do? He walks backwards to Vox's table and puts his hand down and lets Vox bite him.
That's two zombie squad members that have just gotten themselves killed. Fucking retarded.
5 minutes.
How stupid is the zombie squad? How have they not all died already? Jesus.
At the same time, I suppose we're supposed to take it in, you know, it's supposed to be fun. But the thing I have is the fact when you get these two retards who take the cage outside to pick the zombies. I mean, we've seen this. One of the fucking cage handlers, he was sat watching The Evil Dead. And he just seemed like he was having such a hillbilly hickbug time watching the Evil Dead. I wanted him to die. No one of these highly specialised, governmental trained fucking zombie squad members.
Hey, Randalls. You're still alive? I thought those zombies would have escaped from your cheap cages by now.
Hey, Ramy, you gotta come catch this flick, man. It'll help in your zombie killing.
Yeah, we'll see, Randalls. I'll be back up later.
Alright, later, dude.
On top of that, outside the HQ, you have protesters. People are protesting the zombie squad from killing zombies because they want the zombies to be treated like human beings.
It's something that we've seen crop up in both the Dead Rising video game and movie adaptations.
Yes. But the only thing I have is that fucking zombies turn up and attack the protesters.
Which is great. I mean, you can't really see for shit what's going on because it's shot on Shidio. So, you know, it's like, is that a zombie? Is that a protester? Is
that a cop? You know, massive load of cops turn up and they all just start having like a fight. I think I actually see a kid turn up at one point and hit a zombie and run off. So Molson comes up with the idea that if they head to Akron, Ohio, they could find Dr. Bo's original sample and maybe be able to convert it into a virus killer. And I do like that a little bit from Molson before Mercer fucking ruins it, where he explains that obviously, you know, there's the serum created the virus, infected the zombie. It forces the zombie. It eats the flesh and stuff and forces the zombie to seek out more flesh to feast on. So the zombies, like in Day of the Dead, aren't actually feeding on anything. They're feeding the virus. And if you can cut the food supply, then the virus will just eat itself and it will kind of kill itself off.
But it would take a really long amount of time.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, kind of, you know, and that in a way makes me look towards like 28 days later. But I know what you're going to say. Yes, I know it's not a zombie film, but the thing obviously lies in that film that, you know, they will start to starve to death. So they decide to go on a road trip.
Yes. Road trips in horror movies always work.
Yeah, but fucking hell.
No, wait a minute. Road trips always work in comedies.
Yes, which this film's kind of teetering on. You know, because Raimi's like, okay, we need to go. We haven't slept for like fucking 4 days, so we need to get to this place. Mercer's injured, so we better take him as well because we might be able to get the serum. We'll take our female accomplice with us because obviously you always need female aid. You know, they're always fun to have along. And we'll take the 2 top scientists.
Well, they need to go there to make sure they get the right formula to make the right serum.
Yeah, but what happens if anything happens at the base?
Well, you've got all the guys there training on how to fight Deadites by watching The Evil Dead. So they'll be fine. Who cares? Yeah. So they, after driving for however long, they eventually come to this house. Yeah. And there's zombies everywhere, so they decide they're going to get in there. And then out of nowhere, this little kid just starts shouting, hey, wait for me. I'm like, who is this? Vincent is his name, and he's just this, you know, very awkward character who just explains that he's from a church and has some other survivors with him.
Yeah, churches and zombie apocalypses don't mix well.
No.
If you've ever seen The Walking Dead and how that one ended.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like I said, they come up to the house, the door's locked. He's fumbling with the keys. They open it up. There's fucking hordes of zombies inside. They run past, and Vincent comes along like, "No, you've let them out. No." Oh. They search the house, and Raimi and his female accomplice find the diary of Anna and the picture of her dad. And so obviously realise that they need to find Anna and possibly any evidence for Dr. Bo's serum. The two doctors then carry on their search to find anything, and Mercer finds Vincent listening in on Raimi's conversation. And I'm like, you're just dodgy, Vincent. You're just dodgy. So we cut to the next morning, and the two doctors have actually found Dr. Bo's serum in the basement and have realised that it's only a few additives that they never thought of that they could actually add to it. They shout to everybody outside during the zombie apocalypse who are sat round having what seemed to be fucking breakfast at a picnic table. And I love that shot when the doctor pops his head out and goes, "Hey guys, we found it." And Raimi turns and goes, "Yay! Thanks for telling us." You know, I'm like, people are dying every day, man. Stop being so fucking friendly.
Hey, it's here. We found it.
Wonderful.
We're going to get started on it.
But Vincent realizes that Vincent's father, or what we're led to be his father, is obviously in charge of this religious cult. And they don't want the zombies to be wiped out. So to stop the people, the zombie squad from finding the serum, he decides to attack the captain with a machete.
Son of a bitch!
The slow motion as the commander or captain slowly falls backwards off his chair. You know, the blood spraying out. Yeah, it works. You know,
Yeah.
Job done.
Vincent gets shot by a pistol first, and then as he's running away, Raimi blasts him in the back with a shotgun. But he's saved by Mullet Man. Or Carpenter, as we're led to believe. That's another name.
God damn it, how many names is this film gonna fucking drop in there? Right, let's list them off right now, shall we? So we've got Romero.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
even got King.
Yeah.
Also, sounds pretty damn familiar.
Don King.
Oh yeah, must be Don King. Savini. No, not related to zombie works at all. How about Raimi? Yeah, sounds familiar too.
Yeah.
So Carpenter.
Yep.
No, not a staple in the horror genre at all.
No.
And even to a lesser extent, we've even got Jason.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you know, to some extent, you know, if you any name that comes up now, you're just like Vincent. Is that like Vincent Price? I don't know. You just end up making all these connections on your own. You just keep going. It really is a detriment to the film to have all of these characters named after such iconic horror characters of our time. You know, it's kind of fun if you have one, maybe.
Yeah.
But when half the cast are named after these other people, it really, really is quite annoying.
After a while, one of the things we forgot to bring up as well is that, like we said, Sam Raimi put a lot of the production forward with his money from Evil Dead 2. Bruce Campbell did some voice work for this.
Bruce Campbell was credited in the film quite late in the credits for audio post-production. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, throughout the film, there was one sequence where I'm like, that's the Evil Dead wind noise.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's when Raimi's walking up the stairs, you can hear the wind from the cabin from Evil Dead. I'm like, did they just lift that from the film? Or did Bruce Campbell decide to put in some filler noise into the film? And then his own voice.
Yeah. It's not like he does like one little bit. He does the voice over dub work for Raimi all the way through the film.
So you say you have a church colony around here, eh, Vincent?
Yes, it belongs to our Reverend Jones.
What kind of work do you do there? I noticed that AKRON is cleaned out of zombies. Did your people do that?
Our church is involved in strictly religious work as set forth by our Reverend. We're aiding God in his attempts to rid the sins of the earth.
Here's looking at you, kid. Damn it! I knew we shouldn't have trusted that son of a bitch. Come on, Mercer. Let's go get this son of a bitch.
So I don't even know what Peter Ferry sounds like. But I'm pretty sure he doesn't fucking sound like Bruce Campbell.
Well, why does he look like Bruce Campbell? He looks like the alternate dimension Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell's, I don't know, older brother.
So we digress. We digress. Raimi decides that he's going to obviously chase Vincent down and heads to the church to find out what's going on. He gets there and realizes that not only are they a religious cult who wear black cloaks and stab live women with giant swords
to feed them to the zombies.
But they have a basement full of fucking zombies that they feed their dead to. Vincent explains to one of his cult members that Anna isn't the priest's daughter. She's actually the daughter of Dr. Bowen, that he wants her protected because he's in love with her. And I kind of, the film has teetered towards an edge of kind of stupidity. And then it just kind of fucking
rolls around in it.
Rolls, jumps, does a fucking swan dive of eternal beauty into this motherfucker. Because, we watch Raimi leave. He gets in the car, he races back. The fucking religious cult turn up with zombies on leashes.
I'm amazed that they open, I like the idea because this is like one of the first times I've ever seen humans use zombies as a weapon.
Yeah.
Where they literally turn up with the trucks, they open the doors and they force all the zombies to go and attack the zombie squad. I'm like, that's really great.
That's a good idea.
Except for when you're standing there right next to the zombies going, over there, get them. And the zombie's like, okay.
Yeah. And you can't really, you try to take it seriously. Like with Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. You can see what they're trying. But when you get that fucking hippie character running around and he's got the zombie and he's just letting them run, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, you're going to go bite their what's up.
The religious cult leader with his fucking big sunglasses.
He wears those giant sunglasses indoors in the car in the middle of the night. So, who's the villain? That guy.
and while Raimi and the rest of the zombie squad is distracted, Molson has not only created the serum, but has injected Jason, the cult leader's son, who's a zombie, that he's been kept alive, which is kind of a homage to the governor.
Yeah,
from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He injects him with the serum, and he also injects Mercer with it, who hasn't fully turned into a zombie yet. So when the cult has recaptured Jason and Mercer and taken them back to the church, I thought it was a church. It's not. It's a fucking school. They went back to a school, which they've converted to a church. They have nailed Mercer to a wall, and now he is a smart thinking zombie
as a result of the mutation of the vaccine.
Serum? The serum mixing in with the zombie bite, and we watch Jason melt.
It's not exactly the greatest effect, but at least the zombie actor sells it.
Yeah, he sells it. He sells it very well. I kept waiting for it to cut back and just see like a bubbling pool of fucking street trash.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. But yeah, it just the zombie squad attack the school. Well, they don't exactly attack today. They literally walk through the front door, and the fucking cult watch them walk through the front door on video camera.
Don't exactly look like genuine cult members when they're all sat there, do they?
No. And it just kicks off. The cult leader is fucking shot. Fucking Mercer.
The other doctor is shot.
Franklin. Was it Franklin? Franklin, yeah, Franklin is shot. Jason melts. The cult members all attack the zombie squad. The cult leader releases the zombies from the basement, and it just turns into a massive fucking blood gore fuckfest.
This is where I get I get baffled by how they
Now? You get baffled?
No, like seriously baffled as to how they thought that this was a good idea. Now they cast the same woman to play Anna in the sequence at the beginning of the film, which was 5 years ago.
Right, okay.
And then within that 5 years, she's forgotten who her dad was, now believes that this Reverend Jones is her father, and is questioning what he's hiding from her. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it was 5 years ago. Like, how old are you? What in the hell has happened for you to not remember this? And then there's this really bizarre sequence where the other female zombie squad member and Anna are talking, and it's extreme close-up to their mouths. And I'm like, okay, so we've got the only 2 female characters in the film, and we get extreme mouth close-ups. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the female zombie squad member's like, look, this is the way it is. And before you know it, Anna's jumped by the zombies and torn to pieces. And I was like, well, that was a great storyline. Great ending to it too. Great.
That's you, with Dr. Bug.
No. You're lying.
No, I'm not. Jones kidnapped you when he and his cult murdered your father.
No. Reverend Jones is my father, soldier.
At this point, we've also got Mercer stumbling around, who's actually probably the best zombie in the film.
Yeah.
Especially, he's got the best zombie makeup, he's got the best zombie walk.
Yeah.
And
best kind of zombie attitude as well.
Best kind of zombie attitude, especially one that's communicating and is also able to control the other zombies.
Yes.
Again, this is not something we would see in that many zombie films, but it is quite an interesting concept to see this quasi-human zombie hybrid.
Yes.
And which way his loyalty is going to lie. And he decides he's not going to eat his best friend Raimi, but he is going to go after Molson, who turned him into what he is. And for me, it's the highlight of the film when he finally does catch up with Dr. Molson, and Molson's trapped in this cage.
Yeah.
And eventually they break in, and he probably gets the best gore effect as well, where they twist his legs and pull them off, opening up his stomach. You know,
ripping his
typical
face.
George A. Romero, Tom Savini gore effects, where his face is being pulled apart. And of course Mercer pulls out his tongue and delivers the best line in the film. You talk too much, and just eats his tongue. You know, for me, that's the good parts of The Dead Next Door. The gore. You can really see that the money was spent on the gore, because they don't have Greg Nicotero, they don't have Rob Bottin, you know, they don't have Tom Savini.
Yeah.
They've got homebrew special effects, and for what they did, it shows on screen, even if it's shot on shitty vision.
Yeah.
You know, it still works. It sells the effect to an extent.
I really like the ending as well. It's kind of after everything you've gone through, you're just like, you've just watched Raimi get bitten, you're hoping that he gets saved. And there's a bit of a twist of a joke where they turn, they get there, and he's been injected with Molson serum. So obviously he's a smart thinking zombie. And they have that fucking stupid line with Savini that you can't do anything right. But you realise then that it's kind of like a new wave of evolution. You know, you've now got smart zombies walking around who can control the horde, and that they've actually won. You know, when you look at films like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, they all really well, but the endings always just kind of leave it ambiguous. Like, well, what happens?
What happens next?
Yeah, what happens next? At least at the end of this one, you're like, look, humans are fucking retarded.
They lasted 5 years.
Yeah, the zombies are the fucking kings of the earth now, so that's it.
I mean, even when Raimi gets bit, it's just one of those, it's like, it's the same way all the zombie squad members get killed off. Just retarded. They just stand there and go, ah, as the zombie appears behind them or in front of them. It's like, yeah, you all deserve to die.
Yeah.
I have, bizarrely enough, I have quite a few favourite and memorable moments from the film. I mean, for me, best zombie kill of the film is probably near the beginning.
Yeah.
And they shove a grenade in the zombie's mouth and throw him out the window.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is zombie kill of the week.
Yeah.
Right there. Speaking of grenade kills, there's also the same sort of hippie character that's got the zombies on a leash. When the grenade lands at his feet and he just looks at the camera and goes, ah, shit! And fucking explodes. Love that bit.
Good, yeah.
Of course, Mercer turning into a zombie and eating Molson. Brilliant. And yeah, and just the general gore effects. I mean, we don't really see that many zombies pulling people apart, but it's usually just the close-ups of them eating stuff.
Yeah.
I guess my last favourite memorable sequence would be another puppet zombie eating a rat somewhere in the basement of the school.
Yeah, and then if you watch closely, you can see the rat fall out the back.
Just like you can see the other guy's fingers that come out of the throat of the other zombie near the beginning. Some very cool special effects in the film. I've also got to say now that, obviously, I keep saying that this was shot on Shidio, and it was, but, you know, it came out on VHS tape. It's come out on DVD.
Yeah.
And I think it's had like 2 Blu-ray releases since then.
Wow.
And I have to say that this film has garnered a cult following. And there are numerous different special features on all of the different versions that you can get hold of this film on. But I have to say, the latest Blu-ray release, it has been painstakingly put together because a lot of the original film was lost.
Yeah.
Some of the print was damaged. And so they literally went through frame by frame by frame and restored the film as best they could to make it look as good as they could.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they did a lot of work on this film. Pain, sweat and blood, and a lot of fun in making this film, which is why it does still sit on that middle line, although some people would say that it is the greatest, one of the greatest B-movie horrors, so bad it's good. And on the other end, you could be, no, it's so bad, it is shit.
I did have some favourite scenes, and then he fucking stole them. So I'm just going to agree with the zombie fucking kill of the week and the hippie death. Because those are just... anything with grenades is just fun.
We'll just play that clip again.
Yeah.
No flashbacks! No flashbacks! Huh? Shit!
I'll just jump to my recommendation. I do recommend The Dead Next Door. If you are a zombie horror fan and you haven't seen this one, but you've seen probably many of the other classics, this one is up there. It's up there with independent movies like Bad Taste, The Evil Dead, and The Night of the Living Dead. If you're going to do a zombie marathon, it deserves to be in that. It deserves a hell of a lot better placement on your zombie list than fucking Dead Rising Watchtower.
I, of course, recommend The Dead Next Door, but only to B-movie horror enthusiasts, because for a general audience, you're going to be like, this is the worst movie I have ever seen. And clearly, you have not seen any of other J.R. Bookwalter's films. And I have to say, it is quite an interesting story, the story of J.R. Bookwalter, you know, coming off, you know, with his first independent production being financed by Sam Raimi, which is like an awesome way to kickstart your career in filmmaking, to his very sad decline of, you know, mega scorpions. And no longer Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell coming along to help you out.
No.
So it is, you know, it's kind of a sad story, but at least he's still having fun making films, which is, you know, the spirit of filmmaking in the first place. When you've got no budget and you've got ideas, and The Dead Next Door is teeming with ideas that are just not quite executed right. Like, the acting is bad, the script writing is bad, the lighting is bad, the camera work is bad, everything is bad.
Yeah.
But I recommend it. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Science will never be our expectations. Counting to trillion grains of sand. How can we hope to understand? Hope to understand. Hope to understand. Oh, shit. There we go.